Today I'm going to show you how to solve quadratics by using the quadratic formula. So I recommend that you pause the video and write down this formula real quick, the formula that you see here. So somebody pause the video and write this down. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to actually use this formula to solve three separate quadratic equations. Notice that this formula is made up of basically A, B, and C, and an X on one side, so I'll explain that with my example. Okay, oh, I went to page too far. Okay, remember that quadratics need to be written in the form of A x squared plus bx plus c. And our quadratic equation, or our quadratic formula, is made up of a's, b's, and c's. So in my first example here, a is 1, because this is 1x squared. B is negative 4. And C is 3. Now all I'm going to do is substitute into my formula and simplify. X equals negative b, but b is already negative, so when I substitute a negative number into a negative variable, I get a positive 4 plus minus the square root of b squared, so that's going to get me negative 4 squared, minus 4 times a times c. Put all of this over 2a, so 2 times 1. Now I like to simplify this in pieces first because this is quite a big formula. So I'm going to have 4 plus or minus. Over here to the side, I'm going to figure out that negative 4 squared is 16 minus 4 times 1 is 4, 4 times 3 is 12. So this is going to get me 4. So this is going to be 4 plus minus the square root of 4, all of this over 2. Now I'm actually going to take my square root. So this is 4 plus minus 2 over 2. And that equals two different things. So actually let me draw arrows here. I actually get two separate solutions now. I have 4 plus 2 divided by 2. And I have 4 minus 2 divided by 2. 4 plus 2 is 6. 6 divided by 2 is 3. 4 minus 2 is 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. So the solutions to this quadratic are 1 and 3. That's your first example of how to solve a quadratic by using the quadratic equation. Now I will erase most of this, but not all of it. Okay. Now I'm going to work example 12. So I write down A, B, and C, which are 1, 8, and 12. I substitute into the formula. So I get negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 8 squared minus 4 times 1 times 12. All of this is going to be divided by 2 times 1. So again, over here to the side, I'm going to figure out what the inside of the square root or radical is. 8 squared is 64. Minus 4 times 1 is 4. 4 times 12 is 48. And that's going to get me 16. So I get negative 8 plus or minus the square root of 16. All of that divided by 2. So that's going to get me negative 8 plus or minus 4. All of that divided by 2. And here's where I split up into two cases. I get negative 8 plus 4 divided by 2. And I get negative 8 minus 4 divided by 2. This is going to get me negative 8 plus 4 is negative 4. Negative 4 divided by 2 is negative 2. And negative 8 minus 4 is negative 12. Negative 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. So I get at x is equal to negative 2 and negative 6. Now, last example. Okay. This example may trick some people up because not everything's on the same side. So I need to move this 7 over and start with 2x squared plus 5x minus 7 equals 0. If you don't consider this, you're not going to make c negative, and it could mess up a sign later and change your answer. So a is 2, b is 5, c is negative 7. Substituting, I get negative 5 plus or minus the square root of b squared, so that's 5 squared, minus 4 times a times c. All of that is divided by 2 times 2. Over here to the side, I'm going to figure out my radical. 5 squared is 25. Minus, but I'm also going to multiply by a negative, so this is going to end up being a plus. 4 times 2 is 8. 8 times 7 is 56. So that gets me 7081. So I have negative 5 plus minus the square root of 81. All that over 4. So that's going to get me negative 5 plus minus 9. All that over 4. Split it up into its two cases. negative 5 plus 9, all that divided by 4, negative 5 minus 9, all that divided by 4, and negative 5 plus 9 is 4, 4 divided by 4 is 1, negative 5 minus 9 is negative 14, so I get negative 14 over 4. 4 doesn't go into that evenly, so I'll simplify, and that gets me negative 7 over 2. So I can now see that the two solutions to this quadratic equation are 1 and negative 7 over 2. So that completes the lesson on the quadratic formula. I will expect you guys to do the same 6 problems that you've been working on that green piece of paper all week. Do quadratic equation with those. And then tomorrow you'll be looking at solving a quadratic by square roots, and I'll have a different practice page for you there because that looks differently. So it doesn't fit as well with quadratic equation or formula, completing the square, or factoring. Thanks.